Most great leaders are misfits, and we're born into this physical experience as spiritual beings, but we came here to be great. And a lot of times greater outside of the circumstances that our environment support.
Welcome to the Career Changemaker podcast, where we focus on owning your career journey and making impact through the work that you do. Whether you're looking to pivot, transition into leadership, or reimagine your career completely, this podcast is for you. We'll unpack career development strategies, leadership insights, and the mindset shifts needed to thrive in your career. Being a career changemaker means taking control and shaping your professional path with intention. I'm your host, lawyer turned career and leadership development specialist, Janine Esbrand. So if you're ready for candid conversations that are going to help you grow, keep listening. Hello, and welcome to the show. Today we are talking about an important topic, and that is money and how to make more of it. And today's conversation isn't just going to be about tactics and salary negotiation. It's going to be about who you need to become on the inside so that you can command the type of income level that you desire. And I am joined by an amazing guest. Her name is Christy Rutherford. She is a Harvard Business School alum and a certified executive coach. And in the past 5 years, she's assisted her clients with earning a massive $20 million in salary raises. We're going to be talking all things money and digging into Christy's personal experience with chronic burnout, how she bounced back, and how she's now helping others to heal from the inside out so that they can elevate their careers and increase their income. This was such a fun conversation, so I can't wait for you to hear it. Without further ado, let's dive into my conversation with Christy. Hi, Christy. I am so excited that you are here today. Welcome.
Thank you, Janine. I'm excited to be here. Excited.
Awesome. Okay, so I want to talk to you about lots of things. But to start off with, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and tell the audience a bit about you.
Oh, well, 1, I like to win. 2, I call myself a unicorn rider and a general hustler. But past that, right? Past that. You know, when I think about career coaching and coaching, people typically ask me, how long have you been coaching? And I'm like, I was coaching before I knew coaching was a thing. I remember going to this conference in 2016. And so this lady started talking about, you know, she was an executive coach and all. And I'm like, wait, that's a thing? Wait, I can get paid for this? So then it became like, what do I need to do to certify what I already do? So I ended up going to Georgetown University to get certified. So executive coach, we've done $20 million in salary raises for women in the past 5 years. I've gotten 9 women, 7-figure packages. We've doubled 25 women's salaries, tripled 17. And yeah, so I'm excited to share with your audience today.
So good. And I love that. Your experience is similar to mine. I remember going to like a 2-day seminar, which was like introduction to coaching. And then I was in the room and I was like, hold on, wait, there's a whole industry around like helping people the way that I normally help people already. Like,
yeah, this is what I do.
This.
This is what I do.
And then I went down the rabbit hole. So yeah, similar. Okay, so you've been doing some incredible stuff, just supporting people in the way that you just described. But I know that that's not where you started in your career, right? So talk to us a little bit about the journey to get to that point.
Oh, Lord. All right. 1, I've always been that nerdy person who would read self-help magazines and then give people advice. Like that started like at 12. So that's just a part of who I am, even in college. And then, you know, going to college was great. Went to a Black college, partied a lot, which was amazing. And then I ended up joining the Coast Guard while I was in college. And so the Coast Guard is military service, which is amazing. But that was the first time I was told in my face that I would never make it, right? Actually, no, that was in school when teachers told me I wouldn't amount to much. So I've always been a weirdo. I mean, I don't know where you want to start and unpack this thing, Janine. I can go wide, right? But I've never really fit in anywhere that I've been. I've always been like the weird kid or the weird person or the weird student or the weird adult. And so one of the things that TDJ said that I heard, he said, all great leaders are misfits because you were never meant to fit in with the people that you were called to lead. Ooh. And so, yeah, so most great leaders are misfits, and we're born into this physical experience as spiritual beings, but we came here to be great. And a lot of times greater outside of the circumstances that our environment support. Oh, that was good.
I'm so glad this is a recording because if they need to, that's so good.
Yeah. And so it's like, so I've never really fit in. So whether it's school and then going to the military, when you talk about fighting battles and proving people wrong and proving that you're good enough, and when people say what you can't do, so, at the entry source, that boot camp, they say you'll never amount to much, you won't make it because you're a Black woman. Okay, stay right there. Let me prove you wrong. And then when I ended up going to officer candidate school, became an officer, they were like, you'll never amount to much. You won't make it because you're a Black woman. I was like, stay right there. And so when I joined, at the time, it was probably about 20 Black women officers out of 47,000 people. When I left, it was 50. And that was the high number, right? So my demographic in my organization was 0.01%. And so going throughout, so you have the mentorship, and a lot of times the mentorship came through trying to ensure that people never went through what I went through. Sponsorship and the mentorship was, I'm going to burrow through and I'm going to fight the lions, tigers, and bears, my Wizard of Oz analogy, and I'm going to turn around and I'm going to show y'all what to do so we don't all have to continue to fight. And so, throughout proving people wrong, when I got to about a senior level in my career, one at the first part of the senior level, because we have a couple of levels that go up, but when I finally got my seat at the table, Janine, I was too crazy to keep it.
Say more about that.
Well, they always talk about, we need to get our seat at the table, but it's not arriving at the table, Janine, it's how we arrive. So a lot of us think that when we get our seat at the table, that's the finish line. Oh no, get up. The party just started, right? The battle just started, because what we're not told and what we don't talk about enough is we have to fight to defend that seat every day. And if we arrive battle-worn, tired, angry, because we have to keep fighting people, and really shocked and stunned that we got to fight and the battles become pettier, and then regret of what the F-U-C-K did I do, right? And then it's like a never ending battle. And so what does winning mean? And so a part of what I do with my clients is we have to refresh the screen. We have to wipe off all the things that life has done to us, let go of a lot of the experiences so we can enjoy what we already have. So we're successful, but we're miserable. We're successful, but we're suffering. We're successful, but we're suffocating in success because we're still fighting and we're addicted to fighting and we don't know how to stop. And so a lot of people are dying at the senior levels because they just don't know how to disengage from a battle that's been fought for a long time. So that's the long and short of it. We can unpack that for the next 8 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so true. I feel like you have to be a certain type of way to be able to keep going when everyone's telling you, no, you can't, right? And then you get to what you feel like is your destination. And then you're like, oh, well, how am I supposed to operate now? And sometimes we're operating on an old operating system. It's like, okay, now you need to have a different strategy. And I say to people all the time, it's like, there's a playbook, and many of us didn't get all the pages in the playbook. We didn't get the understanding as to how to be in certain spaces. And so it's so important when you can have mentors or coaches or people that can guide you and say, look, this is what it really is, and this is how you need to shift and show up. One of the things we talked about before was kind of like the difference between focusing on the external stuff and focusing on the internal. I know you do a lot of work with your clients there in terms of like, it's not just about what you do. It's like you got to start from the inside out. So talk to me more about that and kind of what comes up for people and then how you're supporting them with that.
Okay. Well, it's all internal. But in marketing, as you know, you have to sell people what they want and then give them what they need. I'd be like, you want some more money, girl? And they were like, yes. You hate your job and your boss? Yes. I'd be like, come on over here. And then when I get them, I'd be like this. So tell me about your childhood. And they're like, wait, what? Tell me how many hours you're sleeping a night. Tell me about, your workout routine. How are you eating? How are you? Are you happy? And they're like, wait, what? Like, I thought I was going to talk about my job. I'm like, oh, scratch the job. Let's talk about your life. Yeah. And that's the work. And so a book that I've written that I'm actually now starting to talk about, and the concept is really trauma default. So what is your default response to stress? The person that stresses you out the most at work is a reflection of some unhealed childhood trauma. Now, people always, I was talking to one of my friends and he was like, Christy, I don't have trauma. This was last year. And I'm like, dude, everybody's been through something. And you can't like white label trauma. Perfectionism is trauma. Everybody thinks that trauma is abuse, but perfectionism is also trauma. But we're talking, and so I was like, all right, fine. Let's just talk about your childhood, because that's what I do. Just over general drinks and chicken wings. You know, I just like to talk. Jenny, even at dinner, we're just drinking and eating chicken wings. Let's talk about some trauma. And so he grew up super successful, you know, corporate, you know, had the Mercedes and the 2 kids and the wife and all these things, checked all the boxes, check. And he's like, I don't have anything, but he grew up in the South on a dirt road. Okay, great. So now what happens is he has money, but in his mind, he doesn't have any money. So when his wife wants to go on vacation and they can afford it, here, we won't have that, right? Well, let's fly, you know, to Dubai, and let's fly first class. Oh, no, we don't have that. We don't have that. Oh, let's go do this. Oh, we don't have that. Well, let's go buy this. Oh, we don't have that. So in his mind, he doesn't have any money because his present circumstances haven't caught up with his past assessment.
Right.
So I know he's like, oh my God, I do have some stuff. And I'm like, yes, I know. I need to go talk to somebody about that. And so that's the work, right? And it's really one of my clients. She used to, she wasn't considered a leader. And so, okay, great. Well, she's mad. They won't promote her. She's not considered a leader. They're against her. I'm a Black woman. They don't like me. All this other kind of stuff. Oh, okay, great. Let's actually talk about what you're doing. Well, what happened was, if you said something to her that she didn't like, she would cuss you out. And not only, Jenny, I used to cuss people out too, but you know, it's not allowed in certain spaces. I was a military officer, like. And so, but she would be aggressive. She would chase you down the hallway to cuss you out, right? Say something. It's like she was throw like some lighter fluid on, like poof, it's over. And so when she grew up, she had money and her mom was college educated, so she didn't have trauma. But what happened was, when she was 14, her cousin called her ugly in front of his girlfriend. And she didn't stick up for herself. She didn't say anything. She remembers the situation. She remembers where she was. She remembers the look on the girlfriend's face. Like, so she can take herself back to that moment. And then there was another scenario where she didn't stick up for herself. So now at 42, she's like, if you say something to her, that default response to stress, the default response to when you're pressed into a situation, the default response to conflict is, I'm going to stick up for myself. So she goes overboard. So a lot of women are told that we're overreactive, and you never want to tell an alpha woman that she's overreacting. Well, you are, because you're overreacting to the present moment. And what we unconsciously don't realize is that we're dragging all the baggage from the past into that present moment. And so the present moment didn't warrant rage.
Yeah. The reaction of everyone else is like, why? I just said this and you're going off. Like, that is not... It's not matching. Yep.
And that's the problem that we solve for our clients. So once you figure that out, they stop reacting. And then she ended up getting promoted. They loved her, right? Like, and she went from 7 direct reports to 1. So she does less work. She makes more money. So that's what we do.
Yeah. I love that. So really it's helping people to like rewrite the scripts that are in their mind, and they're reacting and not even realizing that they are. I love that because I think too often people are looking for that quick fix, right? It's like, okay, I want to get the promotion, tell me what I need to do. I want to get the job, tell me what I need to do. But it's like the work. And I feel like people talk about doing the work a lot, but
they
not
doing the work.
Understands what that means. When we say doing the work, this is the work, like that internal stuff, that going back and figuring out like, how do you manage your emotions and how do you regulate in situations and know why it is you feel the way that you feel.
The why is the big equation to solve for. Because you can, the thing about being, getting to the senior level or even at the mid level, which is stopping us from getting from the senior level, is busy people don't have time to slow down to do the work. We ain't got time. I knew I was crazy, Janine. I ain't had time because I was trying to win. I knew I was stressed out. I bought a stress book. I think that thing was 300 pages. Like, I was so stressed out at some point in my career because I had toxic bosses, right? They would stand in my face and yell at me. I used to stutter. I was so stressed out. Like, talk like this. Like, and to me, that's normal. Let me just keep pushing through. I bought a book that was 300 pages. I never read that book. And I didn't have time to work out as I got more senior. And I'm a chef. I didn't have time to cook. So now here I am, stressed out, clothes are tight because I don't want to buy no new clothes, right? And they were tight. I mean, them buttons were hanging on for dear life. Stressed out people don't crave bananas. You'd be like, oh my God, I'm so stressed. I can't wait to eat a crispy, delicious apple. It's like, no, I want some chips and give me a donut, right? Like, and so, and then you're tired because you're stressed out, and then you don't work out, and then I go to bed because I used to fight every day. So I go to bed in a fight, wake up, check my email before I get out of the bed. And so hell begins before I even put my feet on the floor, because now I got to figure out, oh my God, what I got to do? Who gonna get cussed out today, right? And then who do I have to fight today? So, and now I'm too tired to like take care of myself, work out, eat healthy. So we get trapped in these cycles that we can't get out of. And yeah, my boss was toxic, but I also contributed to the hell that I found myself in. Because I couldn't disengage from the negativity because I was too locked in. Does that make sense? So You can manage a toxic person. Like one of my clients, she was laughing yesterday. She wanted to stomp a hole in her boss. And so once she did the work, she was like, she's a remodeler. Like somebody pissed her off at work, she'll tear the floors up, like in her house. She'll go buy houses just to tear the walls out. Like, I'm serious. Like, and she was, while I'm saying this in front of other people, she didn't deny it at all. She was laughing, right? But I call her Bob the Builder. Somebody make her mad, she'll go tear the floors up. You be like, man, hardwood floors last 100 years.
Wow. So, Chrissy, like, talk to us about where that got you, because I know that like that pushing and having that cycle of like, I'm not eating well, I'm not sleeping, I'm waking up angry, like that leads somewhere. And so share a little bit about your experience with that.
If you've been working towards your career goals and you're feeling like things are not moving as quickly as you want them to, I'm here to tell you that working harder isn't the answer. Getting seen is. If working hard was the key to career success, you'd already be where you want to be. But the truth is, opportunities don't just come from effort, they come from visibility. You don't need to do more to get ahead. You need to be seen, heard, and recognized for what you are already bringing to the table. And that's exactly what I help my clients to achieve in my one-to-one career strategy and executive coaching program. If you're ready to get recognized as a thought leader in your industry, attract more career boosting opportunities without adding more to your plate, and leverage things like podcasting, speaking, or creating content to build a powerful door opening personal brand, then let's create a plan to amplify your presence and position you for those bigger, better opportunities. And let's do it in a way that is aligned with your strengths, your personality, and ultimately who you are. If that sounds good to you, book a fitting call with me today. Head over to careerchangemakers.com/call and let's talk about how we can get you noticed and help you accelerate your success without doing more hard work.
Yeah, so I burned out. Stage 12 burnout, mental collapse, 2012. So 2011 it started, the downward slope, and I couldn't stop. And so I had a boss that I worked for before who was super toxic. And so he was like, I'm going to destroy you. And I was like, what? And they were going to let him. But I was also toxic and a great leader. So it was this yin and yang polarity management, but I couldn't stop, right? And so I ended up resigning with 3.5 years left to retire with a full pension. I would have retired in 2016.
Wow.
And so I resigned in 2012, but I would have died in 2013 had I stayed. And so, but you know, leaving my job for entrepreneurship, because clearly entrepreneurship is more fun and is freedom and there's so much money and it's easy and I'm a winner and I'm going to win and I'm going to make $1 million in 2 months. So 18 months later, burning through all my money, right? I saved about 6 figures. I'm a 6-figure earner. I burned through all of that. I'm bougie, right? I like nice stuff. And so 18 months later, then when I ran out of money and I ended up moving in with my brother in the South, it's in the country, which is where I'm from. And because I didn't have any money, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be here for 2 months because I'm going to be rich and it's going to be great. And once I stopped, Janine, and this is what COVID made a lot of people do in 2020.
Yeah.
Once I stopped, Napoleon Hill has a quote. He says, if I had the courage to look in the mirror and see myself as I truly am, then I will find out what is wrong with me and fix it, as opposed to building alibis to cover my misfortunes. So if I had the courage to look in the mirror and tell the truth, right? Yes. And I stopped long enough to look in the mirror when life made a high achiever, gung-ho, blast through all the walls. When I looked, I exploded in 1,000 pieces. So that's what they call stage 12 burnout, which is a mental collapse. Now, I already had 27 medical conditions. So I'm still doing this sick and limping and, anxiety and headaches. And so like all these things are going on. But when I mentally collapsed, I compare it to like an accordion. An accordion has a frame and you have the wind that goes in and out and it was like that. So when I collapsed, all the frame broke. So I couldn't have any air come in. It was nothing. So then once that happened, I couldn't talk for a year. I could not create a coherent sentence for a year. So that was catastrophic stage 12 mental collapse. And then I had to figure out how I was going to get up. So I felt like I fell into the Grand Canyon. It's almost like running off a huge cliff, falling past the Grand Canyon, then into the ocean, then past the dark, cold depths of the ocean where the octopus are 800 feet long, right? Like the parts where scientists have yet to be able to explore. Past the Titanic, Janine, okay? And then somehow go past that to like the nucleus of the earth. I was like, how am I going to get up? And then I didn't have any money. And I'm a 6-figure earner, so I'm bougie. Okay. I want to be clear. I like nice stuff and I like to eat good, wholesome food. Yeah. And when you don't have any money, you can't be picky about, is this food locally sourced? Are these eggs happy chickens, right? Do these eggs come from happy chickens? Were these grain-fed, organic, brown eggs, right? You can't ask your family, where did these eggs come from? Do you know where this cow came from? Or is it was it grown in a lab or like whatever? So the torture of, I always say it's one thing to be bougie. It's another thing to be broke and bougie. That's a whole different level of pain that you don't want to experience in your life. So that was 3.5 years. It took me 2 years to recover physically. It really took longer than 4 years to recover mentally, but it was 4 years where I was capable enough to be able to make some money to get out of my brother's house. But I think it probably took 7 full years to recover mentally, but it also took me 7 years to recover financially. So that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm passionate about what I do, because that wasn't fair and it was 100% preventable.
And I think I'm so glad you shared that, because I think sometimes people just think I can just keep going. But actually your body will, if you don't take care of it, it will cause you to just sit down somewhere. And the very thing that you should be doing, you would wish you'd be able to do, right? Like I've currently got an injury. I've ruptured my Achilles. And I'm just thinking about those days where I'm like, oh, I can't bother to work out today. I wish I run. And so I think it's so important to have that foresight that sometimes we think we can just keep pushing ourselves to the brink, and actually like looking after yourself it needs to become a non-negotiable.
Well, that's the key, right? Like, and a part of getting the raises is never about the money, because people are already worth the money, but will the next level kill you? So I think God denies a lot of blessings, because if you're struggling here, the next level is going to kill you, right? So, and so self-care is like the foundational part of what we do. And the hardest thing that I do is getting people to take care of themselves. The hardest thing, even my male clients, like I have male clients in Hong Kong and New Zealand, like I have clients all over the world. The hardest thing to get a high achiever to do is to take care of themselves. And it doesn't take that long. But that's my biggest challenge, I would say.
What are some of the things, so when you're trying to get your clients to like, okay, let's just switch the strategy a bit and start taking care of ourselves, and the like, what's the lowest, not barrier to entry, but like, what is the thing that they can do that's simple enough for them to be like, okay, Christy, I can commit to this?
Oh yeah, my recipe. I've been talking about it for 5 years. It's been in Forbes 4 times, right? It's the same thing, but I won't share it with your audience today. 1, meditate 5 minutes 3 times a week with some like disengage from your mind meditation, not talk, not pray. Meditation is when you quiet your mind. 5 minutes 3 times a week. YouTube has a gazillion guided meditations. 2, work out 3 times a week for 30 minutes. And then 3, sleep 8 hours 3 nights a week. That's it. If you can do that. But if you can get the meditation first, like that's the foundational principle that I've learned with my client who's in Hong Kong. If I can get him to meditate, he can do the other. And there are probably like 10 things, but those are the main 3 that will create the biggest change. If I can get him to meditate, he can do the other 10. But if I can get him to meditate, the 10 just fell apart. Right? But those three things will change your life. Those 3 things will save your marriage. We've saved 30 marriages just by taking care of yourself.
And why do you think the meditation piece is so foundational?
Because it's almost like you have kids. So it's the thing about kids is you can clean up a room and they go into the room 30 minutes later, it's a disaster.
30 minutes, more like 10 minutes.
Where did you even get this stuff from? Right? I didn't even know we had that. They'll just tear a room up. And so what meditation does for busy people is the organization of our thoughts. So if we have a hoarder's mind because we're processing a gazillion things all at the same time, it cleans our mind out a little bit so we can be able to make good rational decisions. And so a lot of times people are stuck because they don't have the mental space or the mental capacity to be able to make a rational decision. We make a lot of irrational decisions, which continues to perpetuate the SHIT show that we're stuck in, is because we won't clear the clutter and like create mental space long enough to have mental clarity to make the next right move, which keeps us caught in a cycle of turmoil and chaos. But while let's be clear, going for the next goal, because we want to win. Okay. Like, and we push and we push and we break barriers until we break.
And we don't want to do that, because the thing is, we've got so much to offer. And so that pushing, sometimes I think what you said earlier about going back to childhood and like, what is your motivator? I think that's so important, because I resonate so much with what you said around like, they told me I can't, so I'm going to do it. Like, I was told by a careers advisor that I should try a different career path because it would be hard for me, someone like me, to become a lawyer. So I was like, okay, really? Okay, yeah. So that was my driving force. I don't even know what her name is. I can't even remember her name. I don't know what she told me. And I was like, absolutely not. I will do that, because you can't tell me I can't. But it's crazy because there comes a point where you have to look at what is my motivation now? Like, what am I striving towards? And is everything in perspective? So I think it's so important for people to really pause. And so I love what you're saying there about the meditation. And I don't think I've heard anyone describe it in that way before, where it's like you need to slow down to speed up. That's one of my favorite phrases, right? Slow down so we can speed up and get to where we want to get to, but ultimately in one piece.
Well, apparently that must be something that they tell a lot of Black women lawyers. I had a client who, she's 50, we call it her thing, Freedom at 50. She could practice law in 4 different states. And then she was talking about getting an MBA. I was like, what? Right? And she talked about one day, like, she was so sad, she went down to the beach in her suit and her stockings and like sat on the beach and cried for 3 hours, right? Like, so she's so miserable as this 50-year-old lawyer. And once we did the work, we figured out past her stuff she had going on with her father, right? She's like, I don't have any daddy issues. And then, 2 weeks later, she's like, I do. But it's like, she realized that an advisor told her that she would never make it as a lawyer. That was her driving force to like go completely overboard. So she has all of these places that she can like practice law, which is insane. Most people can practice in 1 state. She can practice in 4. She wanted to get an MBA. She wanted to, like, she has all of these awards, but she never felt successful because she's fighting a voice in her head of what somebody told her that she couldn't do 30 years earlier. So now that she's she's ran 8 marathons, Janine, and it's never enough. So once she stopped and like came into the simple awareness about unpacking some stuff, and then once she became aware of who she was, that's where the real magic is. So the raises typically happen within 4 to 6 months, because once you see who you are, you can now go get what you deserve. It's hard to go own your value if you don't know your value. And then she started getting $100,000, $50,000, $100,000 contracts to work whenever she wanted to work. That was going to keep her in her peace. She's like, yeah, I'll take that. How much do you want? I'll take $100,000. They were like, oh, okay. Because they knew who she was. She didn't know who she was.
Yes, 100%. And that is such a key thing. Like I say that to clients all the time. Like, you can't sell someone on you if you're not sold on yourself. You need to understand how brilliant you are. You can't pretend to understand. You actually have
No, you can't pretend it.
You have to understand, and then you can show up in that way. I read somewhere, I think it was on your website, where you talked about the amount of raises, the value that you've been able to help people get over time. Share that here, and then talk a little bit about the kind of like the type of increases that people are able to secure once they do this work, once they slow down and they understand themselves and what they can bring to the table.
Yep, it's been $20 million since 2020. Right? I didn't start counting until 2020, and in 2020, McKinsey, Women in the Workplace, which I just call a hater rate report, but whatever. They were like, women are going to lose the most during the pandemic. And I'm like, how are you just going to condemn women? And then they're like, oh, Black and brown women, y'all might as well just go jump in the river. It's over, right? And I'm like, how you just going to condemn? How do you predict? You don't know me. Like, you don't know us. And so there are people who were like, okay, I'm losing because they said I was going to lose. But then you also have the people who are like this. Watch me, right? But not in a toxic way. So $20 million. And so once they do the work, it's a 3-part thing with the pay raise playbook. Mindfulness is first. Take care of yourself. Now we have to shift your mindset. Once you take care of yourself, now you can see where you are. Now let's realign your goals. Now let's get into your mindset and be like, okay, what do I really want? Because some people don't really want to be a lawyer. You're a lawyer because somebody told you that you couldn't be one. Right. I was a military officer. I was supposed to go and stay for a certain amount of time. I tried to make it a career. So I'm so far down in a career that I never really wanted to stay in because they told me that I couldn't. Right. So once you get your mindset right, and you start to realign your goals with things that are going to make you happy, and realign your goals with your present state of, I can't be working like I was 25 if I'm married and I got 3 kids. Like, something has to give. Let me now reassess, Janine, how I want to show up. Let me now reassess, my daughters are 16, 15, and 13. I probably need to spend a little bit more time at home so they're not being raised by Megan Thee Stallion and, whoever these rappers are, right? So it's like, so let me be at home and not continue to work thinking that me being a provider, and it's not even with women being a provider as much as it's about proving people wrong. Now let me align and get clear on how I want to live. And that's when the money comes. So now when you go seek a role, either 70% of my clients don't leave their jobs. We've doubled salaries in the same jobs. Now when you go look for other opportunities, you now have a clear state of awareness of how you want to show up in your beingness in this job. Yeah. And when a person, and when a woman, and when a woman of color and a Black woman, let's be clear, aligns with how great she is and the queen of that she is, people be like, oh my God, they roll out the red carpet. Oh my God, please. Like, they want women on their team. They want senior women on their team. They don't want an angry woman on their team. Yeah. And they don't want a woman on their team that they have to keep telling that they're great and try to pump them up. That's not their job. They ain't got time. But if you know who you are, you're like, this is what I want and this is what I require. Oh, they'd be like, oh my God. One of my clients went from, in January 2023, she was at $150,000. That June, she got a new job. I think it was $267,000. But in October, she got another job, $1.5 million.
Hey, what? That is amazing.
Right. And then I had one client, December 2023. She wanted to quit her job in September. She had high functioning anxiety, high functioning depression, and she drank 7 shots of espresso every day. I was like, what is wrong with you? She's like, it's nothing wrong with me. I was like, with 5 kids, 4 kids. Yeah, I've been telling her once you get past 4 kids, I lose count, right? So she has these young kids and stressed out. I mean, crazy to the max. And I saw her picture on LinkedIn. She was like, "There's nothing wrong with me." I'm like, "This, have you like, come, I can help you, please." So she started September. She wanted to quit. I'm like, "Don't quit that job. You better not quit that job." December, she left in peace. She resigned. I had her take another 3 months off because she needed to decompress. And the problem, Janine, was she was always told that she was too much for every room that she was in. So she's this fireball 1,000-watt light bulb that's always been suppressed and compressed into 10 watts or 50 watts. So that's what was driving her crazy. She wasn't allowed to just exist as the ball of fire that she is. In April, once she started to say, "Okay, I'm ready," she did $200,000 in 2 weeks. Now she was making $190,000. She did $200,000 in 2 weeks. And then that was between April and August. She got up to $895,000. And then she sent me a note 2 weeks ago and said she got $1 million grant for something that she's working on. So that's $1.9 million in a year.
Wow.
It's already in you. It's not like we're doing, I mean, it is a little bit of law of attraction and some magic and a little bit taking care of yourself. But really, and that's the alignment part, is like, this is what I want. Write the vision, make it plain, right? It's in the Bible. So whether you want to go metaphysics or if you want to go biblical over here, I can go both ways. Let's bring it into the whole part of who we are and stop trying to compartmentalize our lives into sections. And that's where we get it twisted, because the sections is what's driving us crazy. I'm going to act like this as a mom. I'm going to act like this as an employee. I'm going to act like this as a peer. I'm going to act like this, as a spouse. I'm going to act like this in front of my parents. I'm going to act like this. And we crazy. We don't even know which one we are.
Exactly. It's exhausting. So it's like, just lean into who you are so that you can show up as you wherever you are. And then you attract what's for you, right?
There's so much peace in that.
So much.
I pretended to be 20 different people. And then I was like this. I forgot which one I was. Which one?
Who is it? Oh my gosh, this is so good. I hope people will be taking notes on this episode, because this is such good stuff. So Christy, what do you now do to unwind? What is your personal routine, having gone from being in a place of burnout to knowing how to look after yourself? How do you unwind?
My morning routine is 3 to 4 hours. It depends on what time I wake up, right? So my peak productivity time. The peak productivity time is the time that you're on. And that's like, what time are you up? Not what time did you roll out of bed, but what time does that light bulb in your fire sparks? Mine starts at 10. So I don't start my day until 10 o'clock. None of my meetings start until 10. But we were on an hour early and you were like, can you, for the time adjustment, and it's okay because I worked out. But it's like, for the time adjustment, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm free at that time because I don't start until 10. So I know that's open. So when I wake up, first thing, I give gratitude for waking up in the morning. That's a small thing. Norman Vincent Peale, it's a Bible scripture, but he says in his book, Power of Positive Thinking, when you wake up, you say, "This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I will rejoice and be glad in it," right? Then I turn on positive affirmations, because the last person that I want to listen to in the morning is Christy Rutherford. So my phone, I unplug my Wi-Fi at night. My phone only works with Wi-Fi. So if my phone is safe to look at because it doesn't have all of the notifications going off across the top of all the text messages that I missed or the people that have called me, or and my phone doesn't have any notifications. Like the ringer can be on, but whatever, that's another story. So then I listen to positive affirmations, something positive depending on my mood. And then I grab my coffee, because coffee makes the world go round. And then I journal. My journal is right here. Right? How I restored my inner peace and happiness. This is my client-only journal. We're going to actually start selling it digitally. But I was journaling in this journal. I made it for myself. And after a year, I was like this, I could probably get this to my clients. So I journal, which is my habits of, I started to reflect on, these are the things that I'm grateful for. These are my goals for the month. These are the things that I need to do today to make it happen. So I'm thinking about, these are my goals. This is what I'm grateful for. These are my goals, right, for the month. What do I need to do today to be able to reach the goals that I have for the month? And then it's a bold action I can take today. And then my affirmations. So I need to tell myself who I am. And then I also do affirmations, Janine, throughout the day. I have them hanging up all over my house, but I have them in the mirror, and I have to tell myself who I am. Then I look at my habits, and then I send positive thoughts to people. And then I reflect on what's the positive, what's the personal development thing that I did the day before, because I always have to grow and like read a book. I have, I'm reading currently, see, I'm on my couch now, A Millionaire Vision by my mentor, Don Green, who's the CEO of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Autographed copy. So I have to reflect and like unpack my stuff out of my head. And then I say, this is my goal for the year. And then I visualize, like, now I'm like, okay, well, let me write out how I want my life to be, which is like this little box, this empty box right here. This is how I want my life to be. So now I'm affirming this is the life. I'm grateful for what I have.
Yes.
I know what I need to do today to be able to achieve the goal for the month, to be able to achieve the goal for the year. So I'm locked in on what needs to happen. But then also I need to reflect on who do I want to be and how I want to show up. And then I work out. And then I meditate. And then I start my day.
I love it. There's a lot in there in your morning routine, which I feel like it's important to figure out the time of day where you need to do your stuff. You know, like, and whatever fits with your life. Like, so I have 2 kids. So like, first thing in the morning, those people are just like in my bed, waking me up, just on my...
In your face.
In my face. So in my face. And so my thing is starting that kind of like, I tried getting up before them. That didn't work because my daughter realized I was getting up early, started getting up early with me. I was like, this is not... She's like, Mummy, why are you not getting up so we can have our quiet time together? I was like, it wasn't supposed to be our quiet time. It was my quiet time and you hijacked it. So I was like, okay, that's not going to work. Mm-hmm. So now what I do is once I get them to school, before I start work, that's when I'm like, okay, I will do my workout. I will do my quiet time. I will do all of that before I then start work. And I'm a night owl too. So if I don't do it in the morning, I will then be like, okay, I'm going to do it at night. So I think everyone needs to just figure out, like, when is your optimal time of operation, and honor that. My creative brain doesn't kick in till like 1 o'clock. So there's no point me doing, like, trying to do a presentation or craft a talk or anything in the morning. Like, there's no point. I might as well wait till the afternoon. And I know that now. I think it's important to figure out like what works for you. So I love that you shared that.
And that's why I started with that, right? Because everybody has these habits of what we should be doing. And these are the 7 things that millionaires do before 7 a.m. And so I remember I don't know if I read an article or watched it where they talked about the shower, the cold shower. If you want to be more productive, take a cold shower, cold for 2 minutes, warm for 30 seconds. Cold. Janine, by that 4th day, I was so nasty. When I say I was a BITCH, all caps, I said, I can't. Hey, I might be more productive, but I'm like the nastiest woman that I need a hot shower for my soul because I'm a little crazy, right? Like, we got to tame, I'm a Leo. We got to tame this crazy. You can't have a Leo just running around mauling people. So I was like, oh, okay, that ain't gonna work for me. I got to stick. Now I'm willing to try it. And so we get so caught up in looking at what other people say what's best for us that we're missing the moment of what's best for us, right? Like, personally, because you're like 10 o'clock, now I'm at 1. Oh, Christy, that sounds real good. And you can hear the birds chirping in my routine. And in your mind, you're like, oh, no, my kids ain't gonna let me do that, right? And so instead of saying, well, this is what works best for me, women will beat themselves up and be like, well, I can't do that at all. And they throw it in the trash and say it's not possible. No, it's just not that. You just need to find out how you're going to fit. Those things are the same in your time frame that works for you, but make sure you do it. And that's why when I talked about the, meditate 5 minutes 3 times a week, work out 3 times a week for 30 minutes, and then sleep. I only gave you 3 times, right? I didn't say 7 because 7 is too many. 7 is a lie. Let's be clear. Yeah. 5 is stretching. Now, if you get 5, great. But I only required 3 because sometimes people are like, well, I'm going to not eat chocolate or sugar and flour and all these things for 45 days. I'd be like, but why though?
Yeah, because at the end, you're going to be like, I need it. That's what I did. I cut out chocolate for like 3 months. And then on the next day, I was like, I want the whole chocolate. I tried to stop drinking coffee for a week. I'm like, why am I creating suffering for myself? This is crazy. And so figuring out and then checking, if you can get 3, great. If you can get 5, but in habits, Janine, is like,
If we don't get 5, we quit, we ball it up and throw it in the trash. Let's just celebrate the 3, because the 3 will change your life.
Yes. Oh, I love that. This has been so good. So if people want to find you, Christy, and learn more about the work that you're doing and all the awesomeness, where's the best place?
1, they can connect me on LinkedIn. 2, YouTube, my YouTube channel. We've just revamped it. It's amazing. So it's Christy Rutherford. Mm-hmm. And then also you can follow me on Instagram. So, but the YouTube links will take you to all the things that we have going on. And then also I have my, the book Trauma Default. So traumadefault.com, get Trauma Default, read it. It will change your whole life. Like, this is a book that I've given to all of my clients, and the people who read it buy it for at least 10 people. And this is the year that I'm finally going to start talking about it. So yeah, it's so good.
Yes, please talk about it. Okay. So as we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to share that you want people to like take away with them about how they're showing up?
Yep. You are solely responsible for your mental and your physical health, right? You and you alone. Nobody's coming to save you. Everybody's like waiting for the perfect time to take care of themselves, or we're waiting until, you know how high achievers do, Janine. Once I get this next thing in my life, then I'll have peace. You know? And then it's never ending. And so the joy that you seek and the peace that you seek and the harmony and the balance that people keep telling you is impossible, don't let somebody who hasn't achieved something for themselves tell you that it's not possible. Don't let somebody who hasn't achieved work-life balance to tell you that it's a myth. That's not true. They just haven't learned how to do it. So I want to urge people in these times of normalized chaos around the world, in these times of tremendous opportunity for the people who can manage their mindset, I just really want to urge people to take care of themselves. Money is easy for the people who have a great mindset. Money is easy for people who have a pleasing personality. Money is easy. And money isn't always the end goal, Janine, with my clients, but we want our money too.
Oh, I love it. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming and sharing so many gems with us. I will put all the links to the book and your YouTube channel and everything in the show notes so people can grab it there. So yeah, Christy, have a wonderful rest of your day, and just thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Christy shared such valuable insight, and I hope that those self-care tips that she shared with you and the things that you can incorporate into your routine are things that you've made note of. We need to make sure that we are looking after ourselves so that we can show up fully in our lives, in our careers, and make the type of impact that we want to make. If you want to connect with Christy and learn more about her and the work that she does, head over to the show notes where I'll put the links to her website and her LinkedIn profile. That is all from us today. We will be back with you very, very soon with another amazing episode. Until then, look after yourself and keep moving towards your career goals.